The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
Shalom, salama, tiemi, shalom. Greetings to all of my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you are a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. Well, this morning is definitely an interesting morning. Not just because it's a week before Christmas, but you have a global situation unfolding. And it's not that it's unfolding. It's been in a period of unfolding. But as it is unfolding, that is what we're witnessing during these significant times. And as these times become more significant, I'm going to tell you the reporting on that is going to be less and less and less. As we near the end, when the scriptures say that Babylon falls in an hour, it really does. Because as I see it, in my opinion, as I see it, people will be so unawares, or the lack of understanding will be so, I would say, unremarkable, that as we see things going on and happening, that information flow is not going to be there. You know, I always come to Daniel chapter 12, verses 1 through 4, because there is a key indicator in those chapters to where knowledge is being increased And then when you read Hosea 4 and 6, right, there's a destruction because of a lack of knowledge. And as we are beginning to literally just wake up and see what's happening, what's going on, the increase in knowledge has occurred. Now, whether or not that will be sustained, that's going to be the next question. But I would say that the knowledge is out the hat. That what they had tried to do to reduce our ability to get an understanding of what was going on and what's happening has now been greatly hindered. And I mean, think about this. One, when I'm saying this, I'm not saying this just to, well, I want to throw something provocative. No. I'm saying this because why do you think they went after TikTok? Why do you think they're going after all of these, Telegram and all these other channels that was providing these knowledge sources? And these knowledge sources, they, for them, they were quote unquote unchecked. And to check, which means that they can limit what keywords, what phrases, what the tags are, the metadata for the algorithm that will then allow for our fleshly eyes and fleshly ears to consume, because there is a spiritual component to that. So it is all about the reduction of understanding. And as you begin to understand, you begin to realize that there are certain constructs that have been made over the last 400 years, just in our unique periphery, our unique environment, our unique situation, our unique understanding. Yes, we have a different understanding when it comes to our non Hebrew counterparts. We see things and we analyze things that's different. I had a conversation the other day, and in that conversation, it was stated about some perspective. It was a perspective of a Gentile that was writing about work efficiency and the efficacy of basically how you are effective and how that effectiveness, continues. And immediately I try not to think about this all the time. I believe it or not, I don't try to frame things in the Hebrews versus non-Hebrews. I don't. And I would say, if you do, don't do it to yourself. It gets exhausting. And then when it gets exhausting, you become exhausting. And then you literally get swallowed back up in the vanity hole. And I know folks are going to be, oh, and hey, that's between you and others that are around you. But I do try to limit that scope, because in this world right now, everybody's going through the financial crunch, the cash crunch. Why? Because this world is collapsing. Everybody is understanding the hardships and the heartaches of not just either finding a job, but even keeping a job because why? Because jobs in the traditional sense have gone away. Your job that you're going to have for job security, if it's not tied up literally within a Department of Defense construct, then your job may be leaving by the end of next year. And I've never truly could see that the end of really the American economy, the American experience, because then all that's left is if you can't find a job in the land, then what are you going to do? Well, you have to look elsewhere. You're going to have to look outside of the United States. You're going to have to look at if I need to get a revenue stream, how am I going to do that outside the United States? And really, their options are even limited because now Europe is going through the throes because their economy is looking like doo doo, for lack of better terms. It's like garbage. So I digress. Going back into the um motivational book and things of that nature, it was focusing on being able to be in rest. And when you're able to be in rest, you're able to um provide more productivity. And as I had this conversation with Sister Fatea, because Sister Fatea and I, we're going to be working on some things, and she's going to be on here a lot more often in terms of commercials and things of that nature. So that is coming up in the next month or so. But as we were discussing some things, we had both been in the military. She was in the military, I think, um, a little over 10 years. And, she just, it collapsed. I had been in for 23 years with about 15 of those years on active duty. And, when we were discussing that, the argument that was being made by the Gentile author, it was a good argument. It was a great understanding because that is really the situation that I was in. I was always tired. I mean, I woke up tired. I went to bed tired. I sometimes I would be driving and I would literally lose consciousness while my eyes were open, tired. And when we had discussed it, she was talking about her fatigue getting on out because I was tired when I got out in 2014, 15 time frame, and I was working my civilian job, still DOD oriented, and I was tired. I would be able to provide 4 good hours. And I used to say that I only got 4 good hours for you. I said, if you really want to have something done, if you're giving this to me after noon, you're going to have it done tomorrow by 11. And I used to be that one to set expectations. because at that time in my career, as I was nearing retirement, I could understand that my body was not able to really keep up in what they were trying to do. I'd go in at about 5 in the morning, I'd work on out, and then from about 7:30, 8 o'clock, I would be at my desk, and by about noon, one at the latest, I was done. I was always dragging. I was always, and folks could see he's dragging. And that would be on the second cup of coffee in the afternoon, because, of course, everybody else in the military understood that physiological issue. And if they hadn't been hospitalized, in within the last 2, 3 years, because everybody gets hospitalized, especially when you're at that command level, you do. In my military career, especially when I was at CENTCOM, I got hospitalized 3 times. Stress. I wanted to work on my doctorate. My ex-wife was like, "You can't work on your doctorate." I had to laugh because I'm like, I understood what she was saying, because, when you have that attitude and you have that drive of, no, my body is in shape and I'm good, and you can have the most shape, be in the most shape. You can have, the prescription of, passing the physical fitness test. But if you aren't really emotionally and spiritually, and I would say at that time I was still relatively spiritually in shape, but boy, oh boy, psychologically I wasn't. They would have all of these different stand downs, their training stand downs, how to deal with stress management. And then, later in life, I had to realize, man, I was taking out that stress on my family. And nobody can tell you what you're doing, especially if it's someone that's intimately close, because why? They're going to be too familiar with the situation. So I was a maniac, because you want to know why? I did not know how to slow my body down. I did not know how to de-stress. It was far from me. Oh yeah, no, I heard the teaching. No, I'm stressed. I'm good. And it's like, no, you're not. Because what we learned was that we learned to not rest. Even going to church on Sundays, it was stressful. Man, I gotta get these kids going. I gotta get this. I gotta get that. You gotta be at the house by a certain time. We gotta do this. We gotta do that. It was no rest. I used to deal with blood pressure at hypertension levels, even taking all the blood pressure medicines. And they're like, Mr. Copeland, your blood pressure is still way too high. We're going to have to do something. What are you doing? I'm like, I'm just trying to live. That's the wrong answer, Mr. Copeland. Unbeknownst, yeah, that was the wrong answer. We're not just trying to live, we're trying to live abundantly. We're trying to live as the Most High has told us. And when we think of abundance, it's not just what's in our bank account. The abundance is being able to live mentally to where our mental health is in order, because our mental health is literally our physical health. And now, as we begin to really unravel the secrets that has been hidden from us, because why? Because the whole point of this captivity is to see us stress and stress and stress to the point of physical exhaustion. And that is literally the case. So this is why I invite you all to visit Sister Shar, now Judge Shar. I invite you all to visit Nature's Legacy Garden over at Quest to Unite Africa. This is an ecosphere of mental health, of physical health, of emotional health. This is why I invite you all to go to Faith and Fitness, because why? Because I look at it like this: once you're able to see yourself and to recognize yourself and to really admit to yourself your faults, your failures, we all fail. Doesn't mean that when we're failing, we cannot come through that failure. The very first thing to success is to understand who you are and what you are doing that is failing. I was looking at that. I was treating this channel as a hobby. And the Most High had to get strict with me. No, you wanted to treat this channel as a hobby, and this channel is not a hobby. This channel is that first step that people hear. So there is a component that gets to their soul that a change has to be made, because I don't care how many assassinations, I don't care how many Taiwanese drills that China holds, and I don't care how much that Eastern Mediterranean nation thinks that they can conquer in their short time that they have left. None of that matters if we don't know how to live, if we don't know how to be aware of how to live. And we have the help in our community, and our community is here to support one another. And as we are supporting one another, I guarantee you that when you are ready to do things, when you are ready to make a move, then guess what? The baggage that you had on you is going to be either lightened or off your shoulders completely, because I've noticed this in my last couple years, now almost well over 20 months at Quest to Unite Africa, that in order for us to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent, you can't be bringing in the baggage of Babylon. And I've witnessed that. I've seen the horror stories. Yes, we want to get back to the continent. Yes, we want to do business on the continent. Yes, we want to be able to have a relationship on the continent. But I'm going to tell you this, in order for us to have a relationship on the continent with our brothers and sisters, we have to change our mental conditioning, our spiritual conditioning, our emotional conditioning, and even our physical conditioning. Yeah, hey, listen, you can go to the continent, you can do whatever you want, that's fine. But then people that go on over there, there's more horror stories and success rates. And why is that? Because when our people want to go over, I got a plan. I did a business plan. I did all of the stuff that I Googled on YouTube. I did everything that I saw, and I had all these consultants and I had all these advisors, and I was told, hey, I could just do this and do that. That's nice. That's a nice to have. But the question that I would always say and ask is, what was your emotional state at that time? Were you going to run from something or someone? Because what you run for from will be the same thing that will find you right there on the continent. What you're trying to avoid is the same thing that you will bring into the continent and you want to avoid it. Because we have not really been told the spiritual implications of being able to move, to walk, to act, how our behaviors will either disrupt or diminish what we're trying to do. And I'm not saying that to discourage anyone. No, I don't want to discourage anyone from moving to the continent. But what I want our people to do is that when we are wanting to move, we have to have a personal inventory. We have to have a counseling. When it's like a marriage. What do they say? Look, they want you to have a marriage counseling before most pastors will marry you. They don't just marry you on the spot. They want you to go through, to think about it, to understand each other's feelings, shortcomings. What do you know of that person that you're marrying? Because, yeah, you can have a Vegas, drive through wedding. Cool. But oftentimes, it comes with the price of you're going to have to understand who it is that you're marrying. You're going to have to realize what their insecurities are, and you're going to have to realize your own insecurities. And you're going to have to realize what that commitment looks like because will that commitment be too much for you right now? Because a lot of this is you're going to need to survive. And the access to the quote unquote wealth that you once had in the United States, well, that's going to be diminished. So you're going to have to come up with a sustainable business plan, architecture that will be able to promote the business that you want to do and to bring in the income that you believe is necessary. I don't want to give away too much because if you want to know all about these different factors, then you need to go to Quest to Unite Africa so you can have advising and consulting. Sister Shard does an amazing job with her incubator. Sister Coco G and Sister Ashley and Brother Fast Nickel, they do an amazing job with their gardening, horticultural, and agricultural work. And if you don't think that that's a big deal, did you not see that tens of billions of dollars just within tomatoes and tomato processing? We're not even talking about mangoes, watermelons, any other agricultural item. Come on now. You're bringing that to the continent, bringing in production and manufacturing. And if you don't know how to do it, or if you need help in doing it, you have a community that can support you. That's what Quest Unite Africa is truly all about. I need to develop. I'm going to tell you this, in the 20 months, I have developed. And I'm glad, because you want to know why? Because I understood when I went out there the first time, I understood I'm going on out there as a damaged individual. I'm damaged. I'm damaged. And when you're talking with someone, when you are engaging with someone and you don't know that you are damaged, and you don't know that these are your shortcomings. I was doing everything I could to compensate for my shortcomings. Okay, let me write everything down. Let me listen to everything that you're saying. Let me get all the details on what you're saying. I got to get all the things. I need to know what your body language is saying. I need to know how you are actually engaging with me in this conversation. If it's a fact, if it's a fiction, those are the things. Here in the United States, look, they can just throw dollars. You know the right person, they'll throw dollars. On over there, it's not about dollars, it's about resources. That's the real goods. And they're not going to give you a resource because why? Because they want to know who you are. Man, I'm done with just throwing money to anybody that comes my way. So why? So you can come and splurge on them folk. They want to know, what are you going to do, and how, with what you do, what will that be in terms of it being beneficial? This is how you benefit. And it's constantly refining. You have to constantly refine yourself. And I'm just speaking not really to you, but to me. Because yesterday I was up and I was working on a couple of investor decks and some business plans and some other things. Because truthfully, I got to put some affairs in order. because I plan on getting things moving in the next couple of months. And in doing so, part of getting those affairs in order is to be able to I produce. I produce things. I'm not a producer. I produce. Look, my production is high level business plans, investor decks, advising services. I do advising. Let me listen to your idea and let's bring your idea into a practical outline. And then in that outline, right, that outline creates a checklist. And then in that checklist then creates who would be able to help you on out. That's what I do. But you want to know what? That took time for me to even get to that point. It took time for me to even realize, wow, that is what I do. I bring you on in. I let you know what we can do. I listen to it. We refine it. I make it into something that's usable, something that's understandable, something that is practical, and then we develop it into an actual product, service, or result. But it took me time to even develop that. Because why? Because everybody has their own unique niche. Everybody has their own unique gift. Email me, Howard, for the pricing. But that is how we do and how we manage. We're not managing just to, well, I want you to do that. No, we have to manage each other. Look, I had to have my expectations managed many a times. Part of that book that Sister Fatea and I were discussing yesterday, part of that book was actually it was called, let me find out. She's I have to find out where she put that. Let me just tell you, the gist of the book is hurrying is really of the devil. We gotta hurry up, hurry up, hurry now, buy now, save now, do now, before it's too late. Before it's too late. Isn't that what they always do? That's how they sell you. Do it now before it's too late because once these sales are over, they're over. Do it before Christmas because once Santa goes, right? This is your hurry season. Why is it a hurry season? Because they're trying to sell you what they can sell you by the time that they have their Christmas because that is exactly what it is that they're trying to do in their fourth quarter, right? They're trying to get their profit margins. They're trying to see what they can close this on out. They're trying to see what their tax structure is going to be. They're trying to see what their base is going to be. And a lot of us, we have gone into that. And we've gone into it, even in a personal component. We've gone into it. So you can't say that it doesn't work. Oh, it works. Now, granted, there are definitely things that are naturally of short order. When Garth and I went out to Burkina Faso last year, we had to do so within a month. So that was short order. Well, not last year, earlier this year. But there are situations to where when you do have to move like that, will you have everything aligned and have all your ducks in a row to be able to move like that? Man, I'm a checklist person. I love the checklist. And the reason I did checklists is because when I first started off, when I was working at UPS, I would say kind of one of my first real jobs out of high school. Before then, I worked at the YMCA, 18 years old. They had a little bit of a checklist, for the before and after school programs. Did you feed them their morning snack? Did you, make sure that you go over any type of homework and stuff like that? Did you clean up the tables and have the tables put away so the school doesn't get mad at you? For leaving your materials. Did you lock up the materials, and did you give this checklist um, to the little area director so they could send it to the whomever? They're a checklist. And at that time, back in 2001, 2002, everything was paper. Yep, here it is, signed off, checklist signed off. Now, for me, look, I checklists, and I love to make sure that those checklists, oh, here it is. Here is that file that's attached, and that file extension is right next to this checklist. And this checklist, look, the initials are on in there because I like my checklist to be packets, folders. Y'all know what I'm talking about. My checklist in terms of military type checklist, nah, look, that thing is a package. My thing looks like an award folder and an assignment folder. Like you getting some orders type, you getting some awards type. I need X, Y, and Z up in here. Because why? Because that's now showing to those within the community, hey, this is what we can do for this particular individual, for their family that wants to have this job or this that's not job. Let me tell you, this mechanism of providing value in an income stream. That's what I like to say. When people say jobs, man, look, I come here every day. It's my job. And, whether or not I get paid from donations, it is what it is. I just give the Most High glory every day. No, this is a value. I don't come here and I don't charge people because I want people to understand who I am. Because then when you understand who I am, look, then you understand the organizations, QTUA and other organizations that I represent. So you understand how I work. And how I work then is a representation of how we work. And how we work is then molded, because then we begin to understand, okay, this is how you develop, this is how you develop, this is how you develop. And that development, we haven't had that. Not in this awakening. I'm going to say this, in my opinion, we haven't had that. In my opinion, it's just been, hey, we need to get on out to the continent and do something. But what's that something? I don't know. That, I'm going to tell you, maybe it's my opinion, and my opinion only. But women, let me ask you, give me a one or a two. One, if that's how you uh, 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 work, or two, you would prefer something a little bit more structured. One or two. Because when I was married, that would have been a two. And I understand that. We don't but for guys, especially with myself, oh, you gotta react. We gotta be this and that. We gotta be flexible. We could see this coming down the horizon, and we gotta move. There it is. Thank you, brother God. I was looking for this. Thank you, man. Google is not liking me. I think that
Nah, it's not only you. I mean, literally, it's like literally I had to go in every nook and cranny and look at scour every part of the like YouTube or like Google to find these articles. They really are keeping this on the wrap. Tell me how I could go on africanews.com and they're talking about Jay-Z and all his legal matters and they don't even have this. They're not even talking about the Ivory Coast on like africanews.com.
it's crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy. All right, but yeah, so just to wrap that on up. So in that structure, as what I do to advise, then I'm able to go through and provide and help provide those services that are needed for getting you to where you want to be, getting you to what your vision is. Because why? Because for me, developing the mission, the vision, and the value statement, I can only do it for you in an academic format. That's it. I mean, I've done it. I know of doing it. I've done that in a topical manner. But let me tell you, you want to know who really will break that down for you? Let them know, Brother Garth.
Would that be a Judge Shar?
I'll be the judge. That would be the judge.
Judge Shar.
Here comes the judge, Judge Shaw. Here comes the judge.
Dun 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 dun.
Nah,
Dun.
no, we have it like the Shaft intro. Don't don't bum 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 bum.
Who's there out there judging all the? I don't even know. I'll think of something.
Who's there with the gavel that will bust your behind in half? Star, you're darn right. She's gonna be saying, Brother Karras, why?
Why are you attaching ignorance to my name?
I have to tell her, put the gavel away, put it away. Brother Wall, he got the wood. He's got the sharp wood chisels. Just Charles got the gavel. Oh, but yeah, family. We do have a great um uh environment for that, because I'm gonna say, listen, don't go and don't be in a spirit of hurry. Be in a spirit of purposefulness, right? Being purposeful. And for those, I'm going to tell you that you have them right in that community. Oh, it's Christmas, and then right after Christmas, oh, I'm in debt, and then right after that is, oh, I need to get my budget. I need a brand new me. No, you need a brand new you right now, so you're not going into the debt cycles. And now you need to come up. This look, if you're planning for the 2025, you need to be planning right now. The funny thing is, we've been planning for 2025 since September, October. And now we're getting here at this time. If this is something that you would like to do, if this is something that you could say, Brother Karras, I want to be included and I want to go through your advice challenge, then I invite you to email me at covenantawakenings at gmail.com. And let's talk about what we can do to make your goal a reality. You can do that today. All right. So getting into this, let me show you this because this was kind of janky right here. I got to show you the janky before I can give you what Garth was saying. Here is the janky. Got all these old commercials. This thing go away. This all right. Here we go. So the only thing that you're gonna hear mentioned, this was France on the back foot in Africa after Chadian snub, and it has November 29th. The French plan to significantly reduce its presence in West and Central Africa risks backfiring and further diminishing the former colonial powers' influence in the region at a time when Russia is gaining ground. A French envoy to, here we go, to President Emmanuel Macron this week handed in a report with proposals on how France could reduce its military presence in Sudan, Gabon, and Ivory Coast, where it has deployed troops for decades. And let me tell you, even with this reporting, Brother Garth, what say you with this reporting? Knowing what you know, do you believe that this reporting is truthful or very disingenuous?
It's it's disingenuous. It's just downplaying what's happening. I really understand now what what they call. Well, I'm not gonna say it's not shadow banning. It's just them censoring news and not giving details and all this other stuff. But then if you look online and then you have different African creators talking about what's happening, they give you a lot more substantial information and give you exactly all the history that pertains to what's going on. And Reuters and all these other, like Al Jazeera and all these other news places disseminate their information in a favorable way towards the West. So that's always going to be, you know, the case. And of course, they're going to downplay this. But I mean, you could also see how this coincides with uh, the French government collapsing as well. I mean, it's all coming down. Like,
Eh, well, exactly. And I would, and I'll go a further, one step further to this. And I want to make sure I get this highlighted. Okay. Okay. Let me get this. All right. A French envoy to President Emmanuel Macron this week handed in a report with proposals on how France could reduce its military presence in Chad, Gabon, and Ivory Coast, where it has deployed troops for decades. What they don't want to say is they're getting kicked out. So the statement in itself is a lie. There's no proposal for reducing forces. They've been told to leave. So now you are seeing something that, well, I'm going to reduce my presence in my apartment, even though the landlord is going to kick me on out. Does that make sense?
now it's like being laid off and saying I'm quitting, basically.
Exactly. And it's funny because the details of the report have not been made public, but two sources said they're lying. The sources said Chad would keep the largest contingent. They're lying. However, in a surprise move, it wasn't that much of a surprise. That caught French officials on the hop. The government of Chad, a key Western ally in the fight against Islamic militants in the region, on Thursday, this is back, I think, 3 weeks ago, abruptly ended its defense cooperation pact with France. That could lead to French troops leaving the Central African country altogether. Wait. So they tried to butter up the story. This is what's happening. They're trying to butter up the story because why? Because they realize that most people are only going to read the first two paragraphs. And then, however, in a surprise move that caught French officials on the hop, the government of Chad, a key Western allies in the fight against Islamic militants in the region on Thursday, abruptly ended its defense cooperation pact with France. That could lead to French troops leaving the African country altogether. No, they got kicked out. They're getting kicked out.
Au revoir.
And now look at this. Look at this. Thank you, brother brother Garth. Let me bring this on in here because we got to build up. We got to build this thing on up. Fake news. France flies out two Mirage fighter jets from Chad to signal beginning of military withdrawal. They're out. France flew out the two fighter jets. This is as of December 11th, so this was as of last week. France flew out the two fighter jets it had stationed in Chad on Tuesday, signaling the beginning of the withdrawal of its military forces from the former French colony in Central Africa that last month broke off its defense cooperation agreement with Paris. They're getting kicked out. The pair of Mirage 2000D fighters took off after midday from a French base in the capital of Jamena after Chaldean military forces came to wish them farewell. I'm sorry.
Au revoir. A
came, to wish,
bientôt.
came to wish them farewell.
A bientôt.
What did that? All I could think of was Ray Charles, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. Is that what they were singing?
Très bien. Très bien.
Marcel Leroux, Jacques, et n'est pas venu, vitonné, pa ma. Oh my goodness.
Nah, they're cooked. They're done. I mean, like France is literally um on the ropes and like on all sides. I don't know how they like their only way of like any type of saving face is just to align with you know who and just surrender and capitulate to whatever Russia wants. I mean, that's the only way I see them, moving forward.
So what do you think there, brother Garth? It looks like to me Chad is going to be a new entrant into AES. Um, Ivory Coast is going to be a new entrant into AES, and Ivory Coast is their port. Ghana, to me, that's more. They're still on the
Ghana is,
fence.
yeah, Ghana is still on the fence, but their leader is showing some resistance, but we don't know exactly what he's planning to do. But yeah, I definitely see that Chad and Ivory Coast are, you know, probably going to want to join AES. And then, on Friday, I'm going to talk about how ECOWAS is like, yo, it's like, you guys will give you more time to reconsider. And then the Mali president's like, nah, I don't think we need that time to reconsider. I think we're done with you guys and we're not rejoining ECOWAS. And then they're talking about how them losing all three of those countries is like a geographical, excuse me, a geographical loss. They lose a lot of, potential markets through, the uranium and the gold and all that good stuff. And then they lose pretty much a pipeline into the Sahel, and how they also lost maybe a third of the population of ECOWAS just by Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso leaving. So I feel like some other countries are just going to jump ship in ECOWAS because they see the progress that AES has made in such a short time that it like makes no sense to stay in ECOWAS.
Brother Garth, I'm sorry. I got a very. This is going to be crude. Forgive me, family.
Uh
Forgive me, family. I gotta go. I gotta go through with this. Before I do,
oh.
before I'm about to get kicked off for this very, very. Did I say rude? It, you're gonna once you hear it, it makes all the perfect sense in the world. It makes all the perfect sense in the world. But this came up. This came up in my thought housing. This to me was back in the day personified through the Willie Dynamite movie. See, Willie Dynamite was pimping And then he began to have a change of heart in how he was doing business. So his girls went over to another pimp, and then that pimp had gotten into some trouble because they realized that Willie Dynamite was taking care of them all along, and now they wanted to turn back to Willie Dynamite, and he said, "Nah, forget y'all. Y'all were not loyal. Why do we want to have anything to do with you all?" It's in a very crude manner, but what say you, Brother Garth? Is is that an accurate synopsis?
Yeah, I would say that France is the you know the one looking for the.
He, he, he said he
I
said
mean,
so. Why did Ibrahim Traore wear that glove? I'm going to tell you this.
oh yeah, I know why. He has to,
I
he has to, keep them in order. He has to he even has to, yeah, I mean, he has to keep his own
no
government in
no
order.
no. Well, that's part of it, there, Brother Garth. But this is just my personal opinion. Having fist bumped the man myself.
Oh gosh.
Garth knows where I'm going.
Yeah,
I know.
he
I
won't let me live
believe.
that down. Like I
I
should.
believe it's just it has not been substantiated, but this is what I believe. I believe that the guards that are with President Captain Ibrahim Traore have a little bit of baby powder. So when that glove does come off, that baby powder goes on that glove or
Nah,
the
not not
palm
not
and
baby
is
powder sand.
exposed. It goes on the talcum, the baby powder, and it allows the slap from our brother President Captain Ibrahim Traore to be much more effective to those folks that's giving him trouble. And the other day was something very, very disturbing. And this was reported as of, I believe it was like October time frame, 18 assassination attempts. And I believe it's probably around 20 as of today. So please keep our brother in prayer, Captain Ibrahim Traore. Please keep him in prayer that every plan of the enemy is thwarted by the Most High. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So there is that, just in case YouTube says you cannot talk about Willie Dynamite. That is offensive or something, or, we're just going to give you the white circle of death because it's really not about Willie Dynamite. It's about us discussing here from an RT article. Thank you, Brother Garth, for sharing this.
No problem.
Mos- Moscow, this is December 13th. Moscow reacts to French troops exiting Ivory Coast. The African nation no longer needs the supposed support. Dang. They get they
not
so
even not even
shade.
supposed.
So suppose they be throwing shade. Don't worry, they be throwing shade. Of foreign troops, the Russian Foreign Ministry has stated the planned withdrawal of French troops from Ivory Coast shows that the contingent is no longer needed in the West African nation. Russian Foreign Ministry said on Thursday France is set to hand over its largest military base on the Gulf of Guinea, Port Bouy, located southeast of Abidjan, Ivory Coast's former capital, to the local authorities. The expected withdrawal is being portrayed as a significant step for the country to regain control of its defense installations. The move was first announced in October when General Pascal Ayani, commander in of the French forces in Africa, met with the Ivorian Army Chief of Staff, General Lassina Doumbia, in Abidjan or Abidjan.
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 During the talks, the head of Africa Command CPA reportedly said the French Army's 43rd Marine Battalion camp would be gradually redeployed. I wonder if they're going to have another
Gradually
farewell.
be redeployed. That's a nice way of putting it.
I love how they put that in the italicized and quotation marks. The Army official did not provide a timeline, but in a statement on Thursday, the Russian Foreign Ministry said the final change of owner of the base is scheduled for July or August 2025.
This isn't a
Oh,
termination. This is a redirection. This is a advisement for a redirection.
here. I'm like, oh my goodness. Here we go. Because this is look, that French House of Cards. Because when you, so let me bring this on up to you all. When you lose your military bases, you actually lose your economic stability. You lose it. And the more that they're losing their economic stability, the worse it is for France. France is in trouble. Man, I think the only thing that's they're going to be selling is going to be here in the United States, and that's French fries.
Chocolat bleu.
And they don't get any profit from selling French fries. This
Man,
is
pretty
yeah. Go
soon they're
ahead.
gonna be called. No, I was just gonna be like, pretty soon they're gonna be called freedom fries. They won't even be French anymore.
Oh yeah. Trump is gonna Trump is
Yep.
gonna take that off. They're not gonna make any more money off of the name of French fries. So sad. So sad.
Yeah, yeah, it's really the potato isn't French. We could make our own potato. We could call it freedom potatoes, freedom fries. I mean, it's gonna be huge. I know this may be off topic, but I was watching Canadian Prepper, and that dude, he was going crazy over what Trump said, and I'm like, Trump is just putting stuff out there in the atmosphere and seeing what sticks, and like obviously the I don't know the credence of to what these drones are doing and what he's implying, but it's like, you really want to run with that, Canadian Prepper? I thought you were someone who like vetted stories and looked more into, more concrete evidence. It's funny how you just like ran with that, you know.
Garth, what are you, like an hour away from Bedminster?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like an hour away from Bedminster.
You know what I'm saying? And then Trump was saying that he wasn't trying to go up to Bedminster because of the nuclear threat.
Well, yeah. I mean, you said it, but I mean, I wanted you to say it. But yeah, the nuclear threat and all these nuclear sniffing drones and like, I mean, yeah, they could be right, but that doesn't explain that light that I'm seeing in my house, near my house for the past
Hmm.
couple of years, and like it's been there for a while now. It's been coming and going as it pleases. I mean, that has nothing to do with whatever psyop that's going on at the same time concurrently. So, two
Well,
things. could be different. I mean, true at the same time, but who knows?
Well. Is that their nuclear sniffer because the psyop of the UFOs and other drones that are way beyond, their conventional capabilities is now being tested. So of course you have to understand, and I always like to bring this on out, family. When they provide a quote unquote, well, here's an explanation, quote unquote. To me, I'm always thinking, what are they going to lie about, and how bad is that lie going to be?
Right?
I mean, for real, that's my calculus. What is it that they're going to lie about? And that lie, because you have something here, it has to be now sensationalized. Oh well, we're sniffing nuclear weapons. Okay, did they not? And here's the thing: they said this. They said this many a times. They have they have equipped their ports to do what? To sniff out any type of nuclear and radiological signatures. They scan those things at the port, so they scan that. When you're literally bringing in luggage into the United States, all that stuff gets scanned. Trust me, it gets scanned. I had to do something a few years ago. I was bringing back something very, very sensitive, and that's the only extent I can tell you. But I had to go through JFK. It was so messed up.
Don't tell me,
No,
brother Karras, why
no,
am I getting
no,
why am I thinking of Dave
no, this was
Chappelle?
no, this was kind of messed up though.
Okay.
I was in like I was in the same pair. I was in my suit. That was the only time I was in my suit. But same change of clothes. 72 hours straight because of what was so sensitive. I was in the from the Middle East back to the Middle East in less than 12 hours. I only spent 6 hours in the United States just to sleep and rest, and then it was a turn and burn. That's what they call it. It's a turn and burn. And it was interesting because of where I needed to go. Man, I set them alarms off so quick. At JFK, coming from that international terminal. I said, it's okay. I'm a good guy. I'm one of you all. I'm a good guy. Had to give them all the release letters and everything else, the letters that went all the way to the top. Because the crazy thing is that if I didn't have any of those letters, I would have gone straight to jail. But I mean, at that time, I was working for the United States government, DOD, on active duty. But boy, oh boy, the stares that I got. Because I mean, like they hurried me. They even like they brought the police dog. They put me in the back room and they're like, "Explain yourself." And I'm like, I open up the little the carry on. Here it is. Here's that. Yeah, it was very interesting. It was very interesting. So, in my personal experience, to say that you would be bringing something in, come on, it would be showed. It would have a lead container. Like they don't say that, man. What's in that thing? Open that sucker up, and you want to know what? They're dying to see those things because those are the highlights of their life. Man,
Don't
I
you
found
drop
that.
that, don't you?
You know what I'm saying? Oh man, like yo, like these folks thought that they really had a criminal. Like, yeah, we got it. It's like, let me show you some IDs. Let me show you some paperwork. Oh, okay. Oh, you
Oh
know,
man, and especially since they saw, oh, we got him, we
hmm
got this one. It's like their face lit up, you know.
yeah, and he's black too. Yeah,
Yeah.
not today. I'm on your side. Not today. All right. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for your service. Appreciate
Thanks,
it,
sir.
sir.
Thanks for your service. Right? That's
Then it was, from all seriousness to laughs and jokes. Oh man, yeah, we thought we were about to have a highlight to our work year.
we might have had to send you to Gitmo.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah, that was not a laughing matter,
Yeah, I would imagine it isn't.
Yeah, at that time I was kind of laughing to myself. I'm like, oh, these folks really thought that they had something. Psych. Psych. Oh my goodness. Unreal. But I digress. Let me share this with you all. This is something coming back out, Brother Garth. Brother Garth is saying that our Apple products are about to be in peril.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. I saw that yesterday. I'm like, uh-oh. Ruh-roh in my Scooby-Doo voice. Ruh-roh. Like Zoink Scoob, they're gonna take all
I
the
know, Jerry.
minerals from us.
you doing you're doing great. you man. You doing great, Shaggy. All right. All right. Let's get into this article. This is again from Reuters. Let me bring it down. So Congo in Central Africa is a major source of tin, tantalum, tungsten, so-called 3T minerals. Some independent mines are run by armed groups. The UN says they've been involved in massacres and other capricious activities. Lawyers for the state of Congo argues Apple Minerals pillaged from the tech giant says its audit suppliers, publishes findings, and funds bodies. They're like, we ain't listening to the lies anymore. Let's get into this story. This is as of yesterday, December 17th. The Democratic Republic of Congo has filed criminal complaints against Apple subsidiaries in France and Belgium, accusing the tech firm of using conflict minerals in its supply chains. Lawyers for the Congolese government told Reuters Apple strongly disputes the allegations and says it has told its suppliers they must not use minerals in question sourced from Congo or Rwanda. Don't use the minerals. Oh, no, it's not. It's not.
When it rains, it pours. That's all I'll say.
Now, this is involving France and Belgium. Wow.
What would you say Belgium is? Isn't it like an extension of
It's a French. It's an extension of France.
okay.
Yeah, they're all together. They're all linked in, and it's Europe. Literally, the EU sits in Brussels, which is Belgium. Uh I'm gonna tell you this, family. The rise of Africa. I don't know how else to say it. I've said it. I've said it plenty of times. The rise of Africa. Uh, as I was writing that, here is here is the link, so you can have that as a stocking stuffer. I know many of you may not celebrate Christmas. That is fine. But if you want to provide a stocking stuffer for a family member, wow, I didn't think such and such celebrates Christmas. They don't. But take the time to read it on your couple of days off, because understand that the supply chain is being decimated. What does that mean? Look, not only are you losing out on minerals from China, and the minerals don't come from China, they come from the continent, but China is basically stopping that supply chain. It has said it will stop the supply chain. And now you're having a supply chain stoppage of tin, tantalum, and tungsten from out of the continent, which is responsible for and is used in computers and mobile phones.
And not to cut you off, Brother Karras, but this gives more context as to why Biden was going to Angola, because maybe they already knew this was going to happen and they
Mm-hmm.
needed to make another pipeline for minerals.
Mm-hmm. They need to make another pipeline for minerals, and this is being shot down. Why? You're only going to give me $1 billion when you're literally taking out tens of billions, tens of trillions, not billions, tens of trillions of dollars of minerals each day or excuse me, each year from under my feet.
Is that including taxes on those minerals or just basically just raw value, the raw value of the minerals? Because then if we add the taxes, then it's even more.
Yeah, that's even more taxes, exactly. I would say that that's raw value. And then you're right, absolutely. Then it's taxed. If you're looking and you're seeing this as we are presenting this, this is not a sustainable model for the West. Apple does not directly primary or it says Apple does not directly source primary minerals. It says its audits, suppliers, publishes findings and funds bodies that seek to improve mineral traceability. Its 2023 filing on conflict minerals to the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission said none of the smelters or refiners of 3T minerals or gold in its supply chain had financed or benefited armed groups in Congo or neighboring countries. After the cases were filed on Tuesday, Apple said in a statement that it strongly disputes the claims. And they're going to say blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, it's not necessarily that Apple is going to even pay anything. What this actually means is when people are now looking at an iPhone, they now have to come to the realization that that iPhone has a lot of blood on its hands.
Don't you put that evil on me, Karis, because I'm literally on my phone right now. No,
I am on my Apple machine and I've already, prayed over it. I've sanctified it.
you sanctify. You should take your iPhone and put it in that holy water. and see.
Put in your put in your holy water and pray that and make sure before you do that that you have your Apple Care. It's, I'm being facetious. Do not do that.
Yep, I'm joking too. Don't do that.
Disclaimer: Brother Karras said that. Oh, and I did what Brother Karras said, so I'm suing Brother Karras. No, I gave you a disclaimer that I'm being facetious. Do not do that. But if you need to have advice on what to do, please email me and I will be able to help you with our team of experts that will be able to consult you to have your goal and your plan of action to meet the reality that you want to go to. Join us at the team. You could do so by emailing me at covenantawakenings@gmail.com. That's covenantawakenings@gmail.com. And let's start in on your plans for your future today. What do you think, Garth? I'm getting good at these little commercial breaks, huh?
I thought that was a great segue.
All righty. So I'm sorry. What did I think of Sean Fu? What did I think of Sean Fu? Let me get back. Let me get back to that. No, but for real, this is what I talked about in my book, The Continent of Africa, or excuse me, The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS. I discussed this a couple, first published in August, and now you're seeing it right now. And understand what this is showing is that these nations are going to get poorer. And as these nations are going to get poorer, then the nations are going to retaliate because their wealth is not going to grow. And as their wealth is not able to grow, then they're having a problem generating that wealth, generating the value. And then they're going to start looking like what Trump said to Justin Trudeau the other day.
Oh, I don't know exactly, but I saw that they're trying to get Trudeau to stand to just step down because of his prime minister. I didn't look into it too much. I can look that up now, but I know that the Canadian government is literally about to implode, just like Germany and France.
Exactly. And I wanted to I was trying to show all this tying in because you're seeing the global setting on this. Thank you, brother Garth. This is from Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is in Doha, Qatar. Doha is actually really nice. I've been to Doha. Could I live there? I could not live there. I could work there, but I couldn't live there. It's nice, but it's small. It's tiny. It's like it's a good sized city, but I mean, even in the city, it's like about maybe 3-4 million people. To me, it's like a more condensed Tampa Bay. But they're actually pretty friendly. They're very nice in my opinion, as I've encountered um, Middle Eastern nations. So they are very friendly. They are very welcoming. They actually are very, you know, generous hearted. So, you know, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater on a on a couple of on a lot of these things. Let me get back into. So this is according to Al Jazeera. This was published December 16th. Wow, everything's they're having a remix of this. This is a Fuji's remix. France is
Ready or
singing.
not, here I
No,
come.
no.
You
France is
can't
saying this.
hide.
France is saying this. You're gonna be gone in December. You'll be gone in December.
Someone please call 9.
911. Tell France to not come to my home. Man,
Feel my minerals. No, feel my economy. I don't even know.
alone. Oh my goodness. Is Franca Freak. Franca Freak ending. Why Senegal is cutting military ties with France. A wave of African countries is pushing the former colonizer back, but Senegal is the only one without a military government in power. Oh, they look. Senegal is gonna say, look, we it don't matter. We got to play that rock clip. It doesn't matter if we don't have a military government in power. Do you smell what the Senegalese are cooking?
Know
All
your
right,
role and shut your mouth.
man. By Shola Lawal, 16 December. In Senegal, a country bustling with French-owned businesses and nationals, President Bassirou Diomaye Faye's recent announcement that France should shut down its military bases should have come as a surprise, yet analysts say it was a move that was always going to happen. In November, Faye asked Paris to remove some 350 troops stationed on Senegalese soil, effectively ending a defense pact that had existed for decades and continuing a trend that many or that has seen many West African nations sever or downgrade once strong ties with former colonizer in recent years. I want to bring this on up. I want to bring this up so you can get an understanding of what's happening here. Mm, okay, let me try to make sure I can. Sorry, bear with me. I want to get you. I want to get to this because once you start to see the map and the lay of the land, it begins to make a lot of sense. So let me share this. All right, let me hide that. Thank you.
And as you have that map up, just literally saw what, because at one point, like where your mouse is to the like the Sahel and all that area that used to be French West Sudan or something.
Mm-hmm. Look at all this. Look at all this. So let's say now let's start this here at Chad, right? Here's your Chad. Now you have Niger, and now you have Mali, followed by Burkina Faso, and even Benin is given um
Descendants of
residency.
slaves. Yep, I saw that
Yes.
too. Descendants of slaves, citizenship. Yeah.
Yep. So that could potentially be gone. That's a water area. That's a freshwater area, or excuse me, salt water. And now you have Burkina Faso, you have Mali, And look at what Mali touches. Mali touches Senegal, Guinea, Ivory Coast. These are now areas. See, you can't declare out of something in like ECOWAS until you basically get out the military forces because you don't want to have any type of quote unquote.
Retaliation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have so now basically coming under the chain. Let's count this out. Chad 1, Niger 2, Mali 3, Burkina Faso 4, Senegal 5, Guinea 6, Ivory Coast 7, and even Benin 8. And you may even have Ghana in there as 9 and Togo will probably 10.
That I'm looking this up. That only leaves Liberia,
And Sierra
Nigeria,
Leone. Hmm.
Sierra Leone, and Togo. The Gambia, Capo Verde, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Nigeria is literally holding ECOWAS
Yeah.
together, pretty much.
Yeah. Nigeria is the only one, the only thing that's holding up ECOWAS. That's it. And it's amazing to see how, and that's Cabo Verde, which is Cape Verde. That's a substantial chunk of Africa.
Yeah, that's almost like a third of Africa, pretty much.
It's a substantial chunk, a substantial landmass of Africa that was controlled by Europe. To me, this is crazy.
Yeah. No wonder
And
why they
now,
don't want to report it.
yeah, exactly. You're telling us our minerals. You're telling us our funds. You're telling us our gold, our silver, our tin, our tantalum, our tungsten is now in the hands of their people.
Also hurts that China is banning microchips and all this other stuff too, as well. I mean, geez, it's all just falling into piece all together. It's just it's just ooh, it's crazy now thinking about it. Like this war and all this other provocations is coming to a head now. It's like they are in the corner now.
It is. Let me turn back to the Twitter space, X space, the X verse. This is from Zero Hedge Notes. China's unprecedented military drills around Taiwan stirs concern. Taiwan leaders shocked by largest Chinese naval deployment in 30 years. Nearly 90 Chinese ships encircle Taiwan, signaling potential blockade capabilities. Taiwan warns of severe threat. Whatever. Taiwan can't do nothing. And this is from the Chinese Defense Ministry spokesperson. He's basically saying, just to sum it on up, I saw this a little earlier, but to sum this on up, he's saying, look, Taiwan's ours, and that's part of our national sovereignty. We can do whatever we want whenever we want to maintain that sovereignty. And but the reality of this drill is this is a scary drill because this drill was not signaled. They threw this thing on up in less than 24 hours. So the concern is that if you are, let's say, the United States, we're now seeing how Taiwan is basically getting ready to be shut off. And I would say the US being ready to be shut off by Taiwan, which is really the US manufacturing sector, which is the tech sector. And the tech sector, well, guess what? That's a decline in the economy.
As the economy is ever expanding towards AI and innovation and technology and green energy, all that stuff is being, spearheaded. And, China's literally like, we are going to be the ones fostering in the new economy. I mean, I know I'm being like hyperbolic, but that's exactly what's happening.
And why is that? Because China is so the BRICS nations, this is what you're seeing with BRICS. This is what you're seeing with BRICS. Russia is now they're now firmly in control in Ukraine. And what are they doing?
Yo, that's nuts that they actually have footage of that.
See the scooter right there? That's the scooter right here on the ground. This is a scooter. That's the scooter right there. Frame by frame.
Wow.
That was the scooter. The scooter set off the detonation.
That's crazy, man. Literally, you gotta go on X to find all this stuff, and it's crazy that they're even letting you, watch. This is even on X. I mean, yeah, that's crazy.
Gone in the blink of an eye. Gone in the blink of an eye. Man, they had a lot of C4 up in that bad boy. Because that was just the start of the detonation. When you see the remainder of that building is totally done. That was about at least a good 15, 25 feet blast zone. But why is that, man? They got to start getting the folks. That was a picture of the scooter right there. Oh, Towns of India got it. Because Towns of India has no chill. I'm saying.
Right? Like I love first post for them, and first post is just like, these are the facts. We don't care. We're not picking sides. This is what it is. This is what's happening. Take it for what it is. That's like first post as well.
No, he's sugarcoating nothing. My question is this. This is kind of messed up. Okay, all right. It wasn't that big of a crater. It dented it on in, but yeah, okay, because they had the projectile going out. Yeah, the projectile, it took out some windows. Yeah, it blasted out some windows. It really didn't take out the bricks like that. I think it may have had some it had some ball bearings or something in there. It's like a little makeshift claymore.
Yeah, I mean, I only know about these things in Call of Duty. I know how crazy and ignorant that sounds, but yeah.
They didn't even that's how that's how all right. That's how they get down like that in Russia.
What do they call these, brother? IEDs or whatever?
They had nothing roped off. The bodies are just left exposed, and people are just taking videos of it.
That's crazy.
The bodies just left exposed. People are taking videos. Look at that.
Oh my god,
that's crazy.
Yo,
They just left them there.
I think we should you shouldn't make
Fair use,
episode.
educational purposes only.
You should unlist it. No, I'm just joking. Let me shut up.
Educational purposes only. Yeah, I'm like, dang. And you see that, and then people are just right there, just
It's like Boys in the Hood. Yo, you all want to see a dead body?
like, there's no type of police tape. It's not even cordoned off to
Yeah, there's like no
investigate.
there's no concept of white chalk or anything.
No, that's crazy to me. My thing is, Russia has a really good intel service. Bear with me now. Russia has a really good intel service.
Hmm.
My thing is this. Did they let this man get executed?
That'd be crazy, man. But hey, collateral damage, right? And also, I remember earlier this year there was like a huge terrorist attack in Russia. I remember we were watching it. It was like in a theater. Remember that?
Hmm. Well, let me. Someone said I don't see any blood around the body. Well, it's actually interesting.
I,
Um,
I saw the blood around the body. I don't know. I saw it,
they
but
probably, yeah, they may have. Let me go back to that. No, there's definitely blood. There's
yeah,
blood right
right there.
there. And understand in these types of military pants and outfits, especially if I'm pretty sure he probably had his like shirt tucked in and things of that nature. Believe it or not, especially in this cold and things of that nature, that blood will freeze.
Yeah, that could be a
Yeah.
possibility.
It'll pull up. It'll pull up. It would have probably, stayed in that the Gore-Tex or some sort of, water resistant type thing. Yeah, and that I think that's his assistant. I think that's the person.
Mm.
That's crazy. Yeah, British news back in the BBC actually used to be pretty good back, a couple
Oh yeah, brother
years
Carrot.
ago.
Well, I mean, I'll talk about this on my show Friday, but I don't care. Niger is kicking out BBC. I'll get you that.
What? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they
Is it this? I think it's over for
they banned BBC from Niger.
I think it's over for the West this year. Look, I've said this. I said,
Yeah, I
look,
put it in the chat just
if
now.
y'all want to know when how close we are to things, look at what happens when these places leave. Because why? Because to me, biblically speaking, when it says, "And none shall make Jacob afraid," that's what it looks like. Nah, these folks are leaving. This is Niger, Nigeria. Oh, Niger. Let me get to this. Let me show you all. This again is RT. Niger bans BBC for spreading disinformation. The African state's media regulator has ordered the suspension of the British state broadcasters' programs for 3 months with immediate effect. They can't report. Niger has suspended BBC programming, accusing the British state broadcaster of spreading false information that could destabilize the West African country, which has struggled to combat a decade long lethal jihadist insurgency. The move on Thursday adds the BBC to a growing list of Western media agencies sanctioned by the Nigerian military government and its allies in neighboring Burkina Faso and Mali in recent years. The state owned outlet ANP published a letter from the African state's media regulator ordering local press groups affiliated British broadcaster with the British state broadcaster to suspend with immediate effect. Yeah, people are getting sick and tired of, being lied on. Folks are getting sick and tired of being lied on. What does this all have to do with anything? Look, this is this is a global war. This is a global effort. And as you see, BRICS.
And that also lends some credence to why Ibrahim Traore dissolved his government and is doing everything, because there's leaks of information, and the West is also disseminating information that's not true, that that also undermines your sovereignty, and your right to control your own borders, and the right to disseminate information that's in the best interest of the nation, of the people, and all that was being undermined by the West. And he also probably found Western puppets who were also being agents of the same factions, or the same news reportings. It's the end. The list is endless as to how many different types of agents that are being used in different industries. Also, they're kicking out human rights groups that are claiming to help the people, but those same human rights groups aren't reporting what they're doing, or just doing whatever they're doing without any type of transparency.
Mm-hmm. And understand, people say, well, why are they kicking out the media? And the media should be free and everything else. And people don't even realize. You realize that the United States kicked out Al Jazeera and RT and all Russian news agencies. They did Al Jazeera back in like 2016, 17. Same with RT. I remember when Al Jazeera, I had it on my cable, and I listened to Al Jazeera more than anything else because they were, in my opinion, the most fair and balanced. So people will cook out media for national security, for sovereignty. No, it's not a bad thing. Matter of fact, many nations have done that, including the United States also. So when people try to say, "Oh, that this and that," I'm like, hold your horses, slow down, hold your horses. But I want to talk about, this is the last one before got to wrap this on up. Now there's a land grab because now folks are trying to make it to the mountain. They're trying to make it to the mountain. This is in your Golan Heights area, Mount Hermon. And all I can think of, the only thing I can just feel, I'm just feeling that this is just going to end, very badly. They're taking over the Syrian territories.
Man, it's funny to me. Let me shut up. I'm like, well, whatever. You just look at the geography and tell me if it matches what the Most High says about whatever he put his name and his face, his place. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I'm just, you know, at a loss for words, but I'm
Well,
trying to say it without
the
saying it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Listen, I don't that geography there, that to me has always been um your Greco um Arab areas.
Basically, extension of Turkey.
Well, and Turkey actually was considered part of Greece back in the day. Parts of Turkey was actually considered, parts of their, Olympus and things of that nature. With Zeus and all of the other different tales,
Hmm.
which just extends because I mean, this is when you have to look at the phenotypes. Look, if you have something that's close to you, and then it's easier to then tell a story. You can have a framework, right? I've I may not have it in the right area, but I'm going to name it this area because why? Because then I can point people in this direction. As confusing as it will be, as nonsensical as it is, it doesn't matter about confusing and nonsensical. All that matters is those that buy the lie. And if you buy the lie, then guess what you're going to do? You're going to defend that lie no matter what. So now I laugh because as the Most High is literally preparing the land that is the real land by doing what? By taking out the invading force that was there. He's literally preparing the land in front of our eyes because there's a preparation piece. And in doing so, they're losing value to the land. And as they lose value to the land, then guess what? They're going to get poorer because their resources are finite. I can't get that anymore. I can't, sell that anymore. I can't, get that product anymore. Production is going to slow down, and if production slows down, then what's your economy? What's going to end up happening if you're not going to be able to have an economy where you have the goods and services that you once enjoyed not there? And then the question that's going to be on my mind is then who would be able to provide the goods and services? And then what premium will you be able to get those goods and services in? Because it's going to start costing more. And when it starts costing more, guess what? People are going to start getting fed up. And when people get fed up, that's when the real fun begins. That's when the real fun begins. All this other stuff of what they're doing in Syria and then the Middle East is always a distraction, but it's trying to be a distraction for the purpose of these folks are losing their resources. All right, cue another war. These folks are starting to wake up. All right, cue another war. They're starting to come together. They're starting to talk about what they're doing to come together. They're starting to have an actual tangible plan. They're starting to put their brain trust together and they're starting to move with a purpose. Let's throw another monkey wrench into the Hebrew community.
Travis Hunter and his girlfriend. I'm sorry. You know,
Hmm.
all these dumb distractions that literally, if the world and everything ended now, wouldn't matter in the long, uh,
Mm-mm.
grand scheme of things.
It just doesn't.
And then all the people, and then you like people would be like, you can't do both. No, you really can't pay attention to one or the other. You can't serve two masters. You
Mm-mm.
know, it's like the dual, you know, the double mindedness of some people are like, well, I can't do both. I mean, yeah, but you're gonna always have energy towards one over the other, and then whichever one has your heart the most is the one who you serve the most. And the people who come out and lash out at you for, you know, ruining their little whatever fantasy or, you know, delusion of grandeur, then they just lash out and they just show you that they are literally afraid and heavily tied to the system, and like you were saying, want to be validated by it. So what are you gonna do, you know? It's like fighting it's literally not a person you're fighting. You're fighting a principality. It's a spiritual thing.
Well, and that's what it is. And so this principality is now, it's dying out, right? The resources no longer going to the principality. Because why? That principality needs what? It needs silver. It needs gold. It needs something to have its image worshipped.
Mammon, there you go, right?
It for real. I mean, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Now this principality needs to be able to have programming so that an inanimate function can be functional of a response mechanism that it's producing. So it is carrying an image. See, everything here is for a design, because when this place falls, the design is to capture all those still enthralled in this place to follow along beside it. Now, I believe there's going to be a majority of our people that's going to either get up on out of here or they're going to fall. I mean, I still take to heart the Deagle report, 330 million and down to 90 million. Come on. Because when this thing kicks off, it's going to kick off suddenly. When this thing moves, it's going to move suddenly. And then everybody that was thinking about, oh, I'm going to plan on doing my vacation, my travels, and everything else, then all of a sudden, it's not going to bode the same. It won't bode the same. It won't bode well. I look at it as, look, people in Ukraine, when Ukraine first started, over 2 years, almost 3 years ago, folks in Ukraine were living their life. They were trying to get over the little pandemic, and then they were literally packing up and they were leaving. That's an inventory exercise. What do I need to take with me before I leave? What do I need to have with me before I go? What documents do I need to have in my hand? What's the plan? And now that plan is more of a reality than ever before. And it's not me saying it. I'm not making this up. It's you all that are literally seeing this with your own eyes. That's the confrontation. We're being confronted by it. And not many people wanted to be confronted by it. And I get it. It's easier just to say, no, it's never going to happen. You've been saying this forever. You've been doing this. You've been doing that. Look, the Jeremiah 17 treatment, right? It's, yeah, when is he going to do it? When's the Most High going to do it? I'm just waiting for you all just to fall off somewhere because it's never going to happen. And I get it. In this community, you're going to get a lot of detractors. The hate comes with the territory. And that's okay. Because at the end of the day, all I'm doing is seeing the Most High glorified. That's it. So, family, if you like what I do at this channel, you want to support this channel, I definitely appreciate it. Your donations is what keeps me on. No matter what you give, I just pray that you pray about it. That's it. I'm not a church. I'm not a 501c3. I'm just a brother that's on in here giving some scriptures and providing some insight and analysis of what's going on in our surroundings. Because when you're able to understand how the Most High has already declared this, all the other minutia, all the small things, although it matters, it really doesn't matter. Although it serves a greater purpose, I mean, look, you don't look at each particular stitch in your clothing and you're pointing out the stitch. But at the end of the day, that stitch makes up that cloth, and that cloth makes up that particular clothing item, which then does its purpose. This is what we're seeing right here. This is what we're seeing right now. But again, what the Most High does, he gives us what he's doing in advance. That's how awesome and how loving of a father we serve through his son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Now, whether or not you choose to do anything, hey, that's between you and the Most High. But you can't say he never told you, he never warned you, he never had people speak and teach and talk and show and point out. None of that. So, Brother God, thank you for joining me this morning.
No problem.
So, with that said, I'll be back tomorrow, Most High willing. Since there's now, 7 more shopping days till Christmas, that just means that there's less than a week for all heck to break loose. but that doesn't mean that you have to be caught up
It's
in
beginning to look like a false flag. It's the best time of the year. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what though? Jacoba has said it with things to come. It said, look, things started like right around Christmas. Oh my goodness.
On the 12th day of Saturnalia, my government gave to me 12 flying drones.
And an Olishnik. Oh, in a pear tree. All right. Well, family, with that said, I got to get up on out of here. You all be blessed in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. And with that, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom, peace and blessings. Yasharel.